Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we are doing the fantastic 1993 film Dennis the Menace.
Requests are stupid.
Everybody that requested this, and it was multiple people, surprisingly enough. All those people that requested this, you owe us big time. And you're lucky that this is available for free on Netflix, because if I had to pay for this movie, there'd be hell to pay.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to try and pirate this movie. It wasn't worth firing up my VPN to watch this shit.
So let's just jump into it. Before we do, if you want to follow Corey or I on Twitter, you can follow me at Junior D's. You can follow Corey at Idle Poncho. And let's just jump into this. 1993 Dennis the Menace, starring Walter Mathau as Mr. Wilson, Mason Gamble as Dennis Mitchell, the Menace, Christopher Lloyd as Switchblade Sam, and Lea Thompson as Alice Mitchell.
What a wasted cast. Even the people you didn't name.
Yes.
Were good enough actors to be said this was a wasted cast.
Yes. This had a lot of good actors in it for what essentially is an 8th grade play.
Pretty much, yeah. And let's be clear. Like we say in the description of this channel that our goal here is to basically ruin our childhoods. And by proxy, most of your childhoods. That said, I didn't see this. I was past Dennis the Menace movie when this movie came out. I'd never seen this movie.
Okay. Right
now, we are going to solely achieve the goal of shitting on your childhoods.
Yes.
Because this is not going to be kind.
No, not at all. And here's the thing. With this, we'll get into this movie in a second. With this movie, I realized 1993, I was about 17, and I didn't go see this in the theaters. It was probably on fucking TNT 6 months after it hit theaters. So yeah. I probably saw this at 18 or 19 just randomly. This might be the catalyst as to why I don't like child actors in movies. So with that said,
with your psychological discovery, I feel like I had to go into my own as well, because we're all having epiphanies watching this movie. I thought I had a very strong moral compass. I knew where I was. I knew who I was. I knew where my true north was. Yeah. I watched this movie, and I literally sat there for about 20 minutes going back and forth on whether Casey Anthony had a point.
You were right.
With that being said, let's just jump into this, dude. Because if you want to talk about, if you want to look up the term agita, it's an Italian term. But this movie gave me agita. It opens up with Mr. Wilson and a slew of animals and rodents running for their fucking lives because this white trash kid in bib overalls and no shirt is riding down the street on his bike. You guessed it, it's Dennis the Menace. He maims and kills people throughout this movie, and it's just supposed to be funny. Yep. So Mr. Wilson ducks away because he hears the bike. Dennis breaks into his house. It fucks with him while Mr. Wilson pretends to sleep, because apparently this is such a frequent occurrence that not only does he go in the house, how about you lock your doors, first of all? But he probably would break in anyway. But then he has to pretend to sleep because he knows the kid's going to come up into his bedroom? This has got pee-pee touch written all over it. And it's already aggravating to me.
Yeah, the opening scene of this is basically the prequel to the Golden State Killer movie that is inevitable. That's That's what he's doing. It's fucking nuts.
My anxiety level at this point in the movie is on high alert. He spills aspirin everywhere like a fucking animal. And then he picks it up, licks it, and then because, Mr. Wilson's sick, I need to help him. And then he does the slingshot aspirin and almost fucking kills Mr. Wilson. First 5 minutes.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson is like portrayed as this, old, crotchety, get off my lawn kind of like old man. His neighbor is why he's like that. Does nobody in this movie realize that?
And he's not even that bad though, because when he confronts Dennis's dad, which is basically an absentee father, he says, "I'm not saying he can't come over ever.
The boy cannot come over here unless he behaves himself."
This is the World War II generation. This is the greatest generation. Your kid is torturing him. And he's like, dude, it's fine. I fucking killed Nazis. I don't care.
I was just going to say.
I don't care about your kid. He could come over. It's low-key torture to me at this point. Fuck him. He can come over. Just get outside a little bit.
This dude was probably waterboarded in the war, okay? By actual Nazis. And he's going to die because of a 5-year-old. Come on. Let's show this guy a little bit of fucking respect. But his parents are both assholes. From the word go in this movie. They don't know how to raise a child. There's one point where after this whole shot an aspirin and Mr. Wilson calls the parents and he's fucking screaming into the phone and keep your kid away from my house. And they're like, "Oh, do you have a slingshot?" First of all, they don't know he has a slingshot.
What slingshot?
Do you have a slingshot? I'm not sure.
Give it to me.
They know he's a bad kid because they're like, "Oh, it was Mr. Wilson again. Bum-ba-da. You need to sit in the corner." Sit in the corner? How about you sit in the hospital for a fucking night or two because I hit you in the back of the head with a 2x4?
Oh, good. I'm sorry now.
Sit in the corner. Well, we can't put him in the corner because of some fucking stupid reason. So they don't even put him on timeout. They're just like, you're okay. Just don't do it again.
I feel like we're transitioning from a movie review into your parenting guides.
This is Armando's parenting guide. This is part 1.
It's just like you standing over a kid with your pocket.
Listen, I'm not saying that corporal punishment inside the house is the best way to raise your kids. What I'm saying is corporal punishment inside the household is the best way to raise this kid.
Hell yes.
Yeah, I would probably treat O-Dog from Menace to Society better than I would treat Dennis from Dennis the Menace.
Yeah, so it transitions. They introduce Switchblade Sam, and I'm convinced that they had to put a villain in this movie as Christopher Lloyd, because if they didn't, Dennis would be the bad guy. He'd be the villain in this movie. They basically needed to get a hobo that smelled like trash to be the bad guy. That's how bad they had to go to make Dennis look good at the end of this movie.
And even still, he's aiding and abetting Switchblade Sam for most of it until he's suddenly like blasted in the face with the fact that, "Oh, you're a robber?" Yes. What did you think I was?
Dude, it's aggravating.
Do you see a stick? Do you see a bindle? I'm not a hobo. What did you think I was?
The parents, when they have to get a babysitter because they're going out of town, this is when you realize that they really know. They know who their kid is. They call around to all the babysitters. Everybody says no. They don't go like, "Why? My lovely son?" They're just like, "You call her." "No, you call her." They're arguing over who gets to call these babysitters to ask because they know their kid's a piece of shit. So they decide to call Mrs. Wilson and ask her if she could babysit. Mrs. Wilson is apparently, they just paint her as just this nincompoop that just like, "I love kids because I never had kids. So even if this kid is Satan, I want to babysit Satan." Cool.
Yeah, she's the non-drag Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes. So Dennis immediately starts fucking with Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
He's in his office. He's doing all this shit, messing with him and pissing him off. Then it's bath time. And like a goddamn animal, water all over the floor, brushing his fucking teeth like a lunatic. Okay, murderers get ready for bed like this kid.
What show did we do where we already talked about a kid brushing their teeth like shit?
Child's Play. It was Andy and Child's Play.
Yes.
So, yeah. So now we have another psychotic, possible murderer on our hands. He empties out the nasal spray. He puts mouthwash in the nasal spray. He puts toilet cleaner in the mouthwash. End scene. He now goes to bed. Cut to
He can sleep tight knowing he's got a good 3 to 4 murders planned.
Yeah. So, cut to Mr. Wilson getting ready for bed. First thing he does is he slips and he does a split. Right now, in real life, Mr. Wilson's dead. This isn't a comedy, folks.
Oh, yeah, this is Saw. This guy's Jigsaw.
This is
I know there's that theory that Kevin McAllister is Jigsaw. Cuz it's Dennis fucking the Menace.
Yeah. So he slips, he rips his crotch into great. Oh, I'm laughing so heartily right now. He then goes to do the mouthwash. Oh, I drank pine cleaner. Dope. I'm dead again. And then he goes to use the nasal thing, and it's the mouthwash. And so basically his entire body is fucked. Okay?
Oh, organs are completely shutting down. He's at least having strokes or seizures or whatever it is when your brain just goes, nope, we need to hit pause.
So not only does he almost die during this scene, the next day he almost dies during the attic scene where he's trying to find the lanterns because they have this garden party and he's getting ready, whatever. And Dennis almost kills him upstairs too with the canoe and the thing. And okay, can we stop fucking with this old man? Because it's giving me heart palpitations. Like, I'm afraid for his life now. Then, of course, his mom's flight gets delayed. She calls Mrs. Wilson, flight's delayed. So Dennis has to stay with them for the garden party.
Her flight wasn't delayed. Let's do another comparison here to Home Alone, okay? Because these are two just reckless sociopaths just letting out their aggression on people.
Yes.
Lea Thompson calls and says, flight's delayed. Sorry, he's your problem. Kevin McAllister's mom, Catherine O'Hara, the iconic Catherine O'Hara,
yes,
gets in a U-Haul with a polka band she doesn't know and drives back to her home in Chicago to get her kid. Lea Thompson's like, gotta stay the night. Peace. Hotel bar's open for another 2 hours, bitches. Let's get ripped.
So Dennis is staying with the Wilsons now during this like very important like old people garden party where Mr. Wilson has this flower that blooms once every fucking 1,000 years or whatever. And
this is where, again, Mr. Wilson is really probably like an angel, like a legit from heaven angel. Because if I have this event going on, it's this important to me, right? I know this little shit is running around my house somewhere. And I know the morning I started having, somehow I've escaped death multiple times, probably because I'm an angel. I'm taking all of my experience from World War II. I'm tying this little fuck to a chair. His mouth is shut. It's duct tape shut. He's basically like Guantanamo Bay in like a coffin with breathing holes.
Yes.
And there's no way he can do anything in that coffin until I come. I'll change your diaper when I come and get you. Until this party's over, though, you don't exist.
No, you're absolutely right. But instead, they're like, sure, just put him in a shirt and tie and invite him to the party. We'll just sit him in a chair by the garage. And he's by the garage, and he's like, oh, what's this button do? Honk, honk, honk. Opens the garage, tips the table over, the food goes fucking everywhere, his party's already halfway ruined. And then when they walk over to the food table and they realize that the table's been tipped over, Mr. Wilson, it's a moment where he looks over at Dennis, and Dennis looks back at him like a sad child. This is why you know he's a sociopath, because these aren't like genuine feelings. These are learned, mimicked things that he's seen on the picture box. And he's like, oh, sad face.
This is how my mom looks going to bed unsatisfied every night with my dad.
And he says,
I made a mistake.
A mistake.
Yeah. Mistake is like I circled C and I meant to circle B and I was reading a question ahead on the test. Sorry, Teach. I made a mistake.
Dude.
A mistake is I thought you were going to set a pick and I went left instead of right in basketball.
I can't with a mistake. How many mistakes is it going to take for me to punch you in the face? Because this is the last one. In the movie, like, I'm already yelling. This is the first time in any of the movies that we've watched that I'm actually standing up and yelling at the TV. Like, punch him in the head.
I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains.
Are you Jack Torrance? Did you stay at the Overlook Hotel?
I'm just saying.
I'm looking for axe marks. I'm looking for axe marks in your background. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying. I wore this shirt because it was between this one and my Damien shirt from The Omen. Like, these are the only two shirts that would express how I feel about this child. But Christopher Lloyd then during this scene breaks into Mr. Wilson's house, finds his safe and his gold doubloons and fucking whatever, robs his house along with a bunch of other people's. And then Dennis is inside and notices that the safe's been broken into. He announces to everybody that Mr. Wilson's been robbed. Everybody turns, and Mr. Wilson misses the flower blooming. And now Mr. Wilson's really pissed because he only had one more thing in life that he wanted and could enjoy, and Dennis robbed it.
This is literally like the will in this man. He did the splits. He's had mouthwash up his nose. He's drank Pine Sol. He's put fucking, I don't know, asbestos on his balls instead of talcum powder. And everything in this man is trying to die. And he's saying, no, I'm watching that fucking flower bloom.
Yep.
And this psycho, this sociopath, this fucking Jeffrey Dahmer, 2.5 years away from killing people and eating their brains out, Hannibal style.
Yes.
Made him miss it.
Yep. He robbed
by
him
saying,
of that.
You got robbed.
I heard you got robbed.
Yeah, I did. By you. He didn't care about his gold. He's going to die as soon as that flower blooms. His organs are just like, thank God we're out of here.
His body, his organs inside are going to die like that flower did after it blooms.
Exactly.
But Mr. Wilson then, he looks at this little shit in the eyes. And he gives Dennis what I would only refer to, after all the shit he's put him through, I would only refer to as a nasty talking to, a very stern and nasty talking to.
Oh, yeah.
To like, which
my grandparents gave me sterner talking to when I was like 10. Yes. Because I would pose in a picture all funny. And they'd be like, no, do it right, Corey.
So Dennis is sad now and starts to cry. This is my favorite scene in the movie. Watching this boy cry gave me such joy.
Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy.
Mr. Wilson goes the other route. Like, he feels all bad.
Dude, that is like literally the most Catholic thing that you have ever said.
No, the most Catholic thing would have been if Mr. Wilson took him to the rectory and touched his bottom. That would have been...
Well, that would have been the most Catholic thing ever done.
So Dennis is sad, and then he decides he's going to run away. He takes his bike and drives it downtown, sure, and then goes into the woods where he runs into Switchblade Johnson or whatever the fuck Christopher Lloyd's name is.
You're just done. You're so checked out right now.
Dude, at this point in the movie, I was literally done. He runs into Switchblade Johnson and becomes friends with him within seconds of meeting him. They're under a bridge, there's a little water, and they're like eating beans, or at least he's trying to, and
this is a good lesson right here. Like, I'd almost make it a PSA, but it's so short. It's just, this is why you go to school. Because this kid is so dipshit dumb. He goes,
What does a hostage have to do?
seriously?
Get some friends outside of the shitty friends you have in this movie. But Christopher Lloyd, he quickly pisses Christopher Lloyd off. Like, almost immediately after they're talking for 2 minutes.
Christopher Lloyd should get house arrest for not knifing this kid within 30 seconds.
Exactly. So, I actually, during this whole scene and this whole fucking set of events, I felt bad for Switchblade Sam in this scene.
You want to talk about another live scene where somebody's dead?
Yes.
Dude, that guy is split in two.
Exactly.
Dennis is covered in goo. And then he just looks at the camera and goes,
Do you want to play a game?
This is what really pisses me off, because Mr. Wilson and the rest of the neighborhood are out. Like, first of all, the rest of the neighborhood, at least Mr. Wilson takes his car and drives around to pretend to look for Dennis.
Yeah.
The rest of the neighborhood, they're like, is he there? Is he there? What about here? Like, you just look there. Like, they're like flashing the light like at a rock. Like, they're pretending.
Typically when a kid goes missing, it looks like the scene in Stranger Things where it's just tons of fucking washes of people with flashlights calling out the kid's name.
Yeah. But
and this is like, hey, nope. Nope.
I call bullshit that the neighbors even came out, because judging by the calls to the babysitters, these neighbors hated this kid. And nobody wants to see a kid go missing, but if one has to, how about Dennis?
Hell yes.
So,
and they're also stay tuned for Armando's revamping of the Babysitters Club novel series. It's going to be exciting. But,
so
this is just, it's crazy the lack of effort that's put in. And really, the cops aren't even looking for him or the robber, because the cops are going door to door to all these babysitters being like, look, we know you didn't like this kid. What'd you do with the body? They're looking for a body at this point.
Exactly.
It's not, let's find Dennis and we're all happy.
Yeah, but so I call bullshit on all that. But Dennis continues to torture Switchblade Sam, and apparently he's the hero even though he's Satan, because the next morning Walter Mathau goes out to get his paper. You know, normally when he would like look, oh, I hear the bicycle, I'm gonna go pretend I'm sleeping because fucking Satan's coming. And all of a sudden he misses the noise of the bicycle and Dennis, and like, oh, horse shit. It's the happiest morning of his fucking life. And he goes to go in, he notices, oh, I hear the noise, it's Dennis on his bike. And he's carting along a dirty homeless man, and he's now like the hero because he hogtied Switchblade Johnson.
You're right again.
Even though Switchblade Sam is probably going to get off, because let's just say what had happened here is Dennis violated his constitutional rights.
Time served.
I mean, just stomped all over him. Like, we can't arrest this guy.
Yeah, time served. Dennis put a knife in his butthole. Time served. You stole some purses.
That didn't even happen on Oz. Nobody got knifed in the butthole in Oz.
So, Mr. Wilson all of a sudden couldn't be happier to see him. I'm calling bullshit there. The whole neighborhood comes out, celebrates that Dennis is back. I call BS there. Mr. Wilson then offers to babysit Dennis moving forward to Dennis's parents, and then gets a flaming marshmallow to the fucking forehead.
Yep.
Talk about fucking karma. Dude, shut your mouth. And then it's like, ooh, end of movie. Not yet, because his mom takes Dennis because she's like, oh, they have a fucking daycare at work. During the credits, it's Dennis. Like, if you weren't convinced that Dennis the Menace in this movie is an absolute animal, watch the end credits too. Because while the credits are rolling, he assaults the mean lady from Mom's work. And we're supposed to think that's funny that he assaulted somebody. The fact that this kid has gone this whole movie without getting his ass beat by any adult, let alone his parents.
Yep.
If I'm a stranger and I just witness it from across the street, I'm running across the street to beat the hell out of this child. You want to know why? Because it takes a village to raise this fucking animal.
I can't stand that kid. He's a menace.
I don't have to ask you. This movie didn't hold up for me 5 minutes into it. I'm sure it didn't hold up in 1993. But I have a question for you outside of does this hold up?
Will I help you bury a child's body? No.
Will you help me find this kid? Because now he's a grown man. I want to beat his ass. No.
No.
I was 17 in 1993, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 16, depending on the time of year. But is there, in 1993, was this considered funny?
I wouldn't think so.
Because there was movies like this, and a better made version of this, which is Home Alone. But there were movies like
Home Alone had
this.
a story.
Yeah, that's true.
And
well, that's why I said
let's just call it what it is too. You said it before. Dennis is white trash.
Yes.
It's really hard, even if his parents aren't, even if they're pretending it's 1950 inside that house. Dennis is straight up trash, cousin.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well,
and he's the dirty Steve. If this were the Peanuts game, he would be Pigpen.
He's the catalyst for Dirty Mike and the boys. But like
exactly.
I just don't know, because there were movies like this that came out very slapsticky, and that's fine. There's movies now that come out that are slapsticky, but I don't know that this was were people like belly laughing watching an old man get the shit beat out of him in the theaters. That's what I want to know.
I literally all I ever knew about this was there was a comic strip named Dennis the Menace.
Yes.
It transitioned into this movie. And I never saw it. I knew Walter Mathau was in it, but that's because I know everything about movies.
Yeah.
So.
There you go.
That's it.
But yeah. That's all I got. The only other thing that I have on this is Leslie Nielsen was supposed to play Walter Mathau's part as Mr. Wilson in this. And
good
apparently
decision, Leslie.
Apparently Leslie read the script. He was supposed to be Mr. Wilson, and then he read the first 5 pages and went, fuck this movie.
And he thought it was safe to act with OJ. So let that be a lesson to all of you.
Oh, and on that note, I think we'll end this. Do you have anything else?
No.
All right, cool. Well, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1993's Dennis the Menace.